A McDonald's waitress brings her daughter along to work. She rushes to a millionaire and utters 2 words that leave him stunned. Before we dive in, please share a comment and let us know your location in the world. Let's get started. At 4:30 a.m., Jessica Miller's alarm shattered the stillness of her small one-bedroom apartment. Her body throbbed from the previous day's double shift as she turned over, quieting the sounds before they could disturb Taylor's sleep. Her 5-year-old daughter lay curled on the pull-out sofa, her small face glowing with an unusual red hue. "Taylor, darling," Jessica murmured, gently pressing her hand to the child's forehead. Her heart plummeted, aflame with intensity. Jessica dashed to the bathroom cabinet for the children's Tylenol, her thoughts swirling in a frenzy. Their elderly neighbor, Mrs. Grayson, who typically kept an eye on Taylor, was away visiting her sister. The daycare refused to accept a sick child, and Jessica couldn't bear the thought of missing another shift. Last week, Mr. Thompson had already issued her a final warning. "Mother?" Taylor's voice was delicate and fragile. "I am not feeling well." "I understand, darling." Jessica assisted her in taking the medicine. "Hey, sweetie, I need to focus on my tasks today. You must accompany me, just for today." Half an hour later, they emerged into the brisk morning gloom, Taylor wrapped in a jacket despite her fever, holding tightly to her worn stuffed rabbit, Hoppy. The McDonald's where Jessica was employed lay 8 blocks distant, a journey that seemed interminable with ailing child in tow. "Good morning, Jess," Darlene the cook was called as they stepped in through the back door. "Oh dear, is Taylor unwell? The babysitter has cancelled." "I had no choice," Jessica explained, as she assisted Taylor in getting comfortable in the break room corner, surrounded by coloring books and a small pillow. Darlene cautioned that Thompson would be furious. True to expectations, Mr. Thompson's complexion flushed when he caught sight of Taylor. "Miller, please report to the office now." "Sir, I comprehend your stance regarding children, yet this is a matter of urgency," Jessica implored. "She's reserved, she'll cause no issues." "Previously, Miller," he snarled. "One glance from her and it's all over." As the morning hustle unfolded, Jessica darted between tables, replenishing coffees and jotting down orders, all while glancing at Taylor every few moments. The girl reclined in silence, her cheeks flushed with warmth even after taking the medicine. At exactly 11:30 a.m., the ambience in the restaurant transformed. William Baker entered the room, his impeccably tailored charcoal suit and understated self-assurance instantly distinguishing him from the rest. Amid the familiar lunchtime throng, Jessica spotted him, his face familiar from the pages of the newspaper. The affluent chief executive of Baker Innovations. As Jessica neared his table with a menu in hand, an extraordinary event unfolded. Taylor, previously adrift in her thoughts, abruptly straightened, her eyes now bright and attentive. Before Jessica had a chance to respond, the little girl was already on her feet, teetering across the restaurant floor. "Taylor, no," Jessica reached out, but it was already too late. Taylor approached William Baker's table and wrapped her petite arms around his waist. A hush enveloped the restaurant. Utensils suspended in a moment of stillness. Dialogue ceased. "You're in Mommy's picture," Taylor whispered, her voice carrying to the nearby tables. "The one she stores in her cherished box." William Baker's complexion faded as he gazed at the child, then shifted his eyes to Jessica, who remained paralyzed in disbelief. Time appeared to freeze as their gazes met across the restaurant, both equally taken aback by the child's words. Neither could have imagined the profound impact this moment would have on everything. The stillness in the restaurant enveloped Jessica, a heavy presence resting upon her chest. She hurried ahead, her cheeks flushed with humiliation as she carefully pulled Taylor away from William Baker. "Apologies, sir," she murmured, her gaze dropping to the floor. "She has a fever." She seems unaware of the implications of her words. William Baker stood still, his gray eyes locked onto Taylor with a piercing intensity that left Jessica feeling uneasy. His hand quivered ever so slightly as he placed his water glass down. "Her name is Taylor," he inquired, his tone oddly subdued. Jessica nodded, her mind swirling with confusion at his response. Taylor, dear, it's time for us to return to our little nook now. I apologize for the disruption, Mr. Baker. Mr. Thompson appeared next to them, his expression a facade of professional politeness that failed to conceal his anger from Jessica. Dear Mr. Baker, we extend our heartfelt apologies to you. Your meal today is on the house, he said, casting a glance at Jessica that unmistakably conveyed the message, you're done here. William Baker appeared to hardly acknowledge the manager's existence. It's perfectly fine, he remarked, his gaze fixed on Taylor's face. Children possess remarkable imaginations, yet there was an undertone in his voice that hinted he doubted this was simply a figment of imagination. Taylor continued to gaze at William, an unusual acknowledgement reflected in her eyes, even with the feverish blush coloring her cheeks. You have the same watch, she remarked, gesturing to the luxurious timepiece on his wrist, and your eyes look sad, like mommies do sometimes. Jessica experienced a shiver that seemed unrelated to the restaurant's air conditioning. How could Taylor possibly be aware of a picture she had concealed for years in a box beneath her bed, a picture from a newspaper article she had preserved for reasons she couldn't entirely articulate to herself? Taylor, that's enough, Jessica softly urged, guiding her daughter toward the break room. She sensed a multitude of gazes tracking their every move, inquisitive looks searing into her spine. But Mommy, it's him, Taylor insisted, her tiny voice rising above Jessica's efforts to hush her. Upon arriving at the break room, Jessica knelt down in front of her daughter, feeling her forehead, which remained uncomfortably warm. Darling, it's important for you to take a break, and we must keep our voices down so that Mommy can keep her job, all right? Taylor nodded with a serious expression, yet her eyes sparkled with unwavering confidence. He holds great significance, Mother. I have a strong conviction about it. Jessica made her way back to the dining area, a tightness in her stomach unsettling her. To her relief, William Baker was now engrossed in his phone, appearing completely absorbed in his business affairs. Mr. Thompson waved her over to the counter with a decisive motion. Miller, this is precisely why we maintain a no-children policy, he hissed. One more incident and it's over for you, got it? Indeed, my apologies, sir. It won't happen again, Jessica vowed, fully aware that she had no other options for Taylor's care. The following hour slipped by in a haze of commands and strained grins. Jessica steered clear of William Baker's table, requesting Darlene to take his food instead. As she mustered the bravery to steal a look in his direction, she was taken aback to discover him observing her, a contemplative look etched across his features. By 1 o'clock, William Baker had completed his meal, yet he displayed no intention of departing. He lingered at his table, occasionally tapping away on his phone, yet primarily lost in thought. Jessica grew more and more unsettled beneath his sporadic stare. As Taylor stepped out of the break room, looking pale and unsteady, Jessica felt a wave of concern wash over her. The effects of the medication were fading, and her daughter appeared in a more dire state than earlier. Mommy, I don't feel well, Taylor murmured, resting against Jessica's legs. Jessica crouched, startled by the warmth emanating from Taylor's petite frame. This was no ordinary fever. What if it were something significant? The mere idea of a hospital bill caused her stomach to twist in knots of worry. However, Taylor's well-being took precedence. Mr. Thompson, Jessica said, striving to maintain her composure. I must take my daughter to see a doctor. Her fever is escalating. The manager's expression turned stern. Miller, our team is already stretched thin. It's time for you to go. There's no need to return. Jessica sensed the color fade from her cheeks. Without this position, they wouldn't be able to cover their rent. Without rent, they would find themselves without a place to call home. Yet, gazing at the warmth on Taylor's cheeks, she realized that her options were limited. I comprehend, she remarked, loosening her apron with quivering fingers. As she collected Taylor's belongings from the break room, struggling to hold back tears, Darlene stood in the doorway. "Jess, that wealthy gentleman is inquiring about you," she murmured, "and he has left something for you at his table." Perplexed, Jessica made her way back to the dining area, only to discover that William Baker had vanished. There lay a generous tip, and underneath it, a business card awaited discovery. She lifted it, her eyes scanning the embossed lettering, "William Baker, CEO, Baker Innovations." On the reverse side, inscribed with careful lettering, "Kindly reach out to me, it holds significance." Jessica tucked the card into her pocket, feeling a swirl of uncertainty about its significance. What could possibly draw a billionaire to engage in conversation with her? Darlene added, her eyes wide, "He also covered your register for the day. I informed Thompson that I would double it if he didn't cause any issues regarding your departure." Jessica experienced a tumultuous blend of feelings, gratitude, suspicion, and an elusive emotion that remained just out of reach. What could possibly motivate William Baker, an absolute unknown, to act in this way for her? The afternoon sun blazed overhead as Jessica guided Taylor toward the bus stop. They had to make their way to the community clinic, even though the wait would probably stretch on for hours. "Is that you, Jessica?" She glanced over to see William Baker next to a polished black car, his chauffeur poised to open the door. "I want to assist," he stated plainly. "Your daughter requires medical care. I would like to take you to my personal doctor." Jessica instinctively tightened her hold on Taylor's hand. "What would compel you to take such an action? You are not familiar with us." A complex expression flickered across William's face, blending confusion, certainty, and an almost palpable sense of longing. "I'm not completely certain," he confessed, his candor catching her off guard. Yet, as your daughter gazed at me, he hesitated, appearing to seek the right words. "It seemed to me that I ought to be familiar with her. I would be glad to assist you." Taylor grasped Jessica's hand with a gentle pull. "He's kind, Mommy, and I'm feeling quite warm." Jessica paused, caught in a struggle between her urge to shield Taylor from outsiders and the harsh truth of their circumstances, unemployment, a gravely ill child, and few choices ahead. "All right," she finally consented, her voice almost a whisper. "Thank you very much." As the car glided away from the curb, Jessica felt an undeniable sensation that they had just crossed an unseen boundary, something profound had altered in their reality. It all stemmed from her feverish daughter recognizing a man from a picture Jessica had tucked away long ago. As Taylor leaned against her, feverish and restless, Jessica pondered whether this unexpected meeting could be their rescue or the onset of a tangled web of complexities beyond her wildest dreams. William Baker's private doctor stood in stark contrast to the bustling community clinic that Jessica was used to. Dr. Eleanor Chen's office commanded the entire top floor of a shining medical building, offering sweeping views of the city, with not a single patient in sight. 33.2, Dr. Chen declared, taking the thermometer out of Taylor's ear. "For how long has she been experiencing this fever?" "This morning," Jessica responded, her anxiety palpable as she observed the doctor examining her daughter. Taylor perched silently on the examination table, her gaze flitting inquisitively between Dr. Chen and William, who lingered nearby, the door keeping a respectful distance yet unmistakably anxious. After finishing her examination, Dr. Chen explained that she has a serious ear infection. "I am recommending antibiotics along with a more potent medication for the fever." "I don't have insurance," Jessica admitted softly. William advanced with purpose. "The invoice is presented to me, Dr. Chen. Kindly ensure that Taylor receives all that she requires." As the doctor readied the medication, William walked over to Taylor, his smile warm and inviting. "How do you find yourself feeling today, young lady?" "Improved now," Taylor responded, examining his expression with an unsettling focus. "What was the reason for your absence from us?" William stared in astonishment. "Concealing?" "I wasn't concealing myself, Taylor." "Mommy sometimes gazes at your picture and sheds tears," Taylor remarked with the straightforwardness of a child. Jessica's cheeks flushed with heat. "Taylor, please," she murmured, her face flushed with embarrassment. Mr. Baker is not the audience for this information. William's expression was a mystery. It's perfectly fine, he directed his gaze towards Taylor. It seems there may be a mix-up regarding my identity. Taylor shook her head with determination. No, it's you. A heavy silence enveloped the room until Dr. Chen reappeared, bringing with him the medication and the necessary instructions. Jessica took in the information, her gaze cautiously fixed on William, who had withdrawn once more, appearing deep in contemplation. Upon completion, William was adamant about taking them home himself. You must get these prescriptions filled right away, he stated, firmly closing off any possibility for debate. The journey to Jessica's apartment building unfolded in quietude, punctuated only by Taylor's sporadic observations regarding the structures they encountered along the way. Jessica observed how William engaged with each person, responding with sincere curiosity instead of superiority. Upon their arrival, William instructed his driver to remain behind as he guided them upstairs. Jessica paused before unlocking her door, keenly aware of the chipped paint and frayed carpet in the corridor. I appreciate all that you've done, she remarked, pausing at her doorway. However, I believe it is necessary for us to proceed. Jessica. William interjected softly. I appreciate your concern, but I would prefer to discuss this once Taylor is settled. Something peculiar is unfolding in this place. Jessica paused, caught in a conflict between caution and intrigue. Taylor took it upon herself to reach out and grasp William's hand, doing so with an ease that suggested a familiarity she had yet to establish. Him for all time. Come see my drawings, she beckoned, drawing him in with an inviting gesture. Their apartment seemed excruciatingly cramped with William present. He appeared excessively grand, overly refined for their worn furniture and pre-owned possessions. He displayed a complete lack of discernment, his attention fixed entirely on Taylor as she beamed with pride, presenting her artwork displayed on the refrigerator. He looked at her intently and said, "You have a remarkable talent," as he studied a crayon drawing of a princess with purple hair. Once Taylor had taken her medicine and settled on the couch, with her stuffed rabbit William, he turned to Jessica, his expression serious. "May I pose a question to you?" He murmured softly. "Could I take a look at the picture your daughter referred to?" Jessica experienced an unusual shiver coursing through her. "What makes me confident in your trustworthiness?" William pondered for a moment before responding, "You don't. Yet, I assure you. I'm simply seeking to grasp what's unfolding in this situation. Your daughter identified me in a manner that seems impossible." Despite her reservations, Jessica pulled a small box from under her bed. Within lay a newspaper clipping from 6 years past. William, receiving a business award, appears more youthful yet unmistakably retains his identity. She whispered, "I've never shown this to Taylor. I didn't bring you up at all." I can't grasp how she found out. William gazed at the photograph before shifting his attention to Taylor, who had drifted off on the couch. He confessed the same. "However, I am determined to uncover the truth." William lingered at Jessica's modest kitchen table, his fingers tracing the edges of the newspaper clipping as he contemplated its significance. This excerpt is taken from the Business Journal, dating back 6 years. His voice carried a sense of contemplation, delving deeper. "What made you hold on to it?" Jessica nervously toyed with her coffee mug, steering clear of his eyes. "I'm not entirely sure," she confessed. "During my college years, I was enrolled in a course on business ethics. Your company was highlighted in a case study, and you kept this specific article because she seemed uneasy with his insistence. Your story piqued my interest, I suppose. Self-made millionaire, creative mindset." She hesitated. "Honestly, I was taken aback that Taylor even noticed you. This picture has never been revealed to her." William cast a quiet look at Taylor, who lay serenely on the couch, her fever at last subsiding. "Children occasionally possess peculiar insights," he remarked, yet his demeanor indicated a lack of contentment with this rationale. "Could I inquire about Taylor's father?" The inquiry lingered in the atmosphere surrounding them. Jessica tensed. He's absent from the scene, having departed before her arrival. Apologies escaped William's lips, his tone gentle and sincere. That surely presented quite a challenge. We handle it, Jessica curtly responded. She refused to divulge the specifics of Michael's treachery to an unfamiliar face, regardless of his kindness. William appeared to perceive her defenses rising. He returned the clipping to her and reached for his wallet, pulling it out. A simple card. He mentioned his direct number. Reach out to me if there are any updates on Taylor's condition or if you require assistance with anything. Jessica accepted the card with a hint of hesitation. What is the reason behind this action? Offering assistance to those we don't know? William's gray eyes locked onto hers, radiating an intensity that took her by surprise. Several years have passed since I lost my wife. She existed. He hesitated, as if sifting through his thoughts for the right expression. Taylor evokes memories of a certain individual. That's the best way I can put it. The small apartment was enveloped in an uncomfortable silence until the sound of William's phone chiming broke the stillness with a message. He examined it and rose to his feet. I have a meeting I can't miss, he declared, adjusting his perfectly tailored suit with precision. However, I would like to follow up on Taylor tomorrow, if that's acceptable. Before Jessica had the chance to craft a reply, Taylor shifted on the couch. So, you're heading out? She inquired of William, her tone soft and tinged with disappointment. For the moment, he promised her with a soft smile. I'll return to check in on your feelings. Taylor nodded, exuding an air of effortless acceptance, as if this were the most ordinary arrangement imaginable. Is that a guarantee? I promise, William replied, and Jessica observed the way his formal demeanor relaxed in the presence of her daughter. Once William departed, Jessica settled next to Taylor, gently caressing her hair. How are you doing, darling? Improved, Taylor remarked, then continued with unwavering confidence. He will assist us, Mother. Jessica acknowledged with a thoughtful tone that Mr. Baker has shown great kindness. No, Taylor insisted, her gaze sharp and unwavering even in the grip of her illness. He must assist us, and we must assist him. He seems to be adrift. Jessica experienced a sudden shiver coursing through her body. What do you mean by lost? Taylor furrowed her brow, grappling with the challenge of expressing ideas that were far too intricate for her limited vocabulary. He doesn't recall, she finally remarked before letting out a big yawn. What do you mean, Taylor? Yet Taylor had already slipped back into slumber, leaving Jessica with an abundance of questions and few answers. Later that evening, as Jessica unpacked the groceries that William had arranged for delivery, far nicer brands than she could usually afford, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It would be wise to keep your distance from William Baker for the sake of you and your daughter. Jessica's grip on the phone faltered, her hand shaking as she reread the message once more. Outside her apartment window, she observed a dark sedan idling across the street, its engine humming softly. Within the confines of the room, Taylor lay in serene slumber, blissfully ignorant that the meeting with William Baker had ignited a perilous chain of events. This unfolding situation would soon compel Jessica to confront the depths of her trust in the man who had so abruptly entered their lives mere hours before. She cast a fleeting look at William's business card resting on the counter before her gaze returned to the menacing text message. No matter the circumstances, they had become intertwined with it all. Jessica hardly found rest that night, jumping at every noise that echoed outside her apartment window. The shadowy sedan vanished into the night around midnight, yet the ominous text message lingered on her phone, a stark digital reminder that she was being observed. Taylor awoke without a fever, yet her vitality felt diminished, a shadow of her usual self. Will Mr. William be arriving today? She inquired while having her cereal. I'm not quite sure, darling. Jessica contemplated her choices. She had to secure a new job without delay. The rent was approaching its deadline in 10 days, yet she felt an urgent need to shield Taylor from the peril they had inadvertently encountered. The phone rang, revealing a number she didn't recognize. Jessica Miller. A woman's clear voice welcomed her. "This is Vanessa Pierce, the executive assistant to Mr. Baker. This morning, Mr. Baker requested that I look into Taylor's condition." "She's doing better, thank you," Jessica responded with a hint of caution. "Outstanding. Mr. Baker is eager to connect with you today, if that works for you. A car can be dispatched at your convenience." Jessica paused, uncertainty flickering in her mind. "Today, I'm on the lookout for new job opportunities. Yesterday, I found myself without my position." A moment of silence lingered. "I comprehend. Maybe I can assist with that. Baker Innovations is linked with numerous local enterprises. Would you consider some referrals?" The proposal was alluring, yet it only deepened Jessica's doubts. What motivated William Baker to be so dedicated to assisting them? "Thank you for the offer," Jessica said thoughtfully, "but I think I'd rather take care of it on my own." "Absolutely." Vanessa maintained a polished demeanor. "The meeting with Mr. Baker holds significant importance. He pointed out that it pertains to Taylor." Jessica cast a sidelong look at her daughter, who was observing their exchange with an unexpected focus. "This afternoon sounds good." Once the details were arranged, Jessica knelt next to Taylor. "Today, we will be visiting Mr. Baker." Taylor's expression lit up at once. "I was certain he would return for us. He's simply lending us a hand, dear. Try not to form too strong of a bond, all right?" As she uttered the words, Jessica became aware that she was conversing with herself just as much as she was with Taylor. "But he really needs us, Mommy," Taylor urged. "He has been searching for us for quite some time." Before Jessica had the chance to ponder this strange remark, her phone vibrated with yet another message from the mysterious number. A warning was issued. "Now keep an eye over your shoulder." Jessica felt a chill run through her veins. She drew the curtain closed and ensured the door was securely locked. The car arrived right on time at 2, a sleek black sedan with a polished driver who introduced himself as Marcus. Jessica observed that he maintained one hand close to his jacket while they made their way to the car, his gaze perpetually sweeping the street. He provided a brief explanation about the security detail when he noticed her observing. Instructions from Mr. Baker. The headquarters of Baker Innovation stands tall, a shining skyscraper in the heart of downtown. Jessica couldn't shake the feeling of being underdressed in her plain blouse and jeans while Marcus led them through the elegant marble lobby to a private elevator. Taylor, on the other hand, exhibited an unwavering confidence. She hopped with enthusiasm next to Jessica, gesturing at the contemporary art pieces as though she were revisiting a cherished location. William encountered them face to face as the elevator doors slid open on the top floor. He donned a charcoal suit that likely exceeded Jessica's yearly earnings, yet his demeanor was inviting as he knelt down to Taylor's height. "How are you doing today?" he inquired softly. "Much improved," Taylor responded, then continued with surprising candor. "Have you recalled anything yet?" William appeared quite surprised. "Did you recall?" "Taylor," Jessica chided gently, feeling a flush of embarrassment. "We should refrain from troubling Mr. Baker with trivial inquiries." However, William shook his head. "It's not trivial. I wish to grasp her meaning." He glanced back at Taylor. "What should I keep in mind?" Taylor furrowed her brow, deep in thought. "The incident. When you found yourself adrift." An unusual look flickered across William's face. A blend of astonishment and familiarity. He rose suddenly, the hue fading from his face. "Text, please, step into my office," he said, his voice wavering just a bit. Jessica trailed behind, her hand resting gently on Taylor's shoulder in a gesture of reassurance. Growing more convinced that they had stumbled into a situation much more intricate than just a case of misidentification or the fanciful thoughts of a child. Once they were seated, she mentioned that she had received another threatening text. She presented her phone to him. "There are those who prefer we don't connect with you." William's demeanor grew stern. "This was a fear of mine. I invited you here for that reason." He activated the intercom. "Noah, we would be delighted if you could join us." The door swung open, revealing a tall man with a serious demeanor, clad in a meticulously tailored suit. "Jessica, allow me to introduce you to Noah James, the leader of my security team," William said. "I have a strong feeling that you and Taylor might be at risk because of my actions, and I want to make sure you both stay safe." Noah James moved with the precision of someone who had honed the skill of evaluating dangers in an instant. His gaze moved across Jessica and Taylor, neither harsh nor warm, but marked by a sense of professional distance. The messages were revealed after he scrutinized Jessica's phone. Untraceable, yet the timing implies an awareness of Mr. Baker's schedule. "Insider insights?" Jessica echoed. "Are you referring to an individual who is employed by you?" William let out a deep sigh, his fingers gliding through his perfectly styled hair. "Or for Charles Blackwell. He holds the position of CEO at Blackwell Enterprises, which is our primary competitor. At present, we find ourselves engaged in an intense bidding competition for Meridian Tech. Do you really believe he would intimidate a waitress and her young daughter because of a business arrangement?" Jessica's voice trembled with incredulity. "Noah stated bluntly that Blackwell resorts to underhanded tactics. It always has. Additionally, there's another point worth mentioning." He deftly pushed a tablet across the desk. A social media post appeared on the screen, featuring Taylor embracing William at McDonald's, accompanied by the caption, "Baker's Secret Family." Billionaire CEO unexpectedly confronted by a child asserting familiarity. Jessica's hand darted to her mouth. Who would share this? Somebody. Dining at the establishment. William responded with a somber tone. "It hasn't garnered much attention yet, but Blackwell would have noticed it. He could see you as a tool to use against me." Taylor, engrossed in the vibrant world of markers that William had generously offered, unexpectedly broke the silence with a remark. "Elevate." The sinister figure in the dark vehicle. Each of the three adults shifted their attention toward her. "Which black car are you referring to, darling?" Jessica inquired with caution. "The person keeping an eye on our home," Taylor remarked casually, her focus still on her drawing. "He had been present earlier, during the time when Daddy departed." Jessica sensed the color fade from her cheeks. Taylor was just a year old when Michael vanished from their lives. It was beyond her capacity to recall that. William and Noah shared a knowing look. "Taylor," William inquired softly. "Could you provide us with additional details about this villainous figure?" Taylor gave a slight shrug. "He sent Daddy away, and now he's upset that you returned." A tense stillness enveloped the office. Jessica gazed at her daughter, perplexed by her strange remarks. Noah finally spoke up, "I think it is imperative that we organize protective surveillance for Ms. Miller and Taylor without delay." William nodded in agreement. "We ought to." Suddenly, the office door burst open unexpectedly. A tall man with silver hair, dressed in an expensive suit, entered with a confident stride, his smile failing to warm the chill in his eyes. "William, I heard you had some guests and wanted to take a moment to introduce myself." William's expression grew stern. "Charles, this meeting is for invited guests only." Jessica immediately recognized that this was Charles Blackwell. There was an undeniable pull in his presence that drew her instinctively nearer to Taylor. "Apologies for the interruption," Blackwell remarked, his eyes locking onto Jessica. "My name is Charles Blackwell." "Ah, so you must be the enchanting young woman who has caught William's eye. The similarity is striking, wouldn't you agree?" "Similarity?" Jessica inquired, her brow furrowed in confusion. Blackwell's grin grew broader. "Naturally, to Angela, William's deceased spouse." Jessica cast a quick look at William, noticing the tension in his jaw. "Clearly. That's enough, Charles," he said in a quiet, menacing voice. However, Blackwell pressed on. "It's quite remarkable, indeed. And the young one?" His gaze moved to Taylor, who had paused her drawing to fix him with an unexpected intensity. Indeed, she possesses a unique charm. I suppose so. As we were about to depart, Noah gracefully interjected, positioning himself between Blackwell and Jessica. Naturally, Blackwell retreated toward the door. There's just one thing, William. The agreement with Meridian. The board will cast their votes tomorrow. It would indeed be unfortunate if that were the case. Preoccupied with personal issues. His gaze shifted purposefully to Jessica and Taylor. Once he departed, Jessica faced William. Do I genuinely resemble your spouse? William paused for a moment, then pulled open a desk drawer and took out a photograph. Meet Angela. Jessica inhaled sharply. The woman in the photograph might have been her sister. The identical heart-shaped visage. The identical warm brown eyes. Both had hair that bore a resemblance, yet Angela's was meticulously styled, whereas Jessica's was usually gathered in an uncomplicated ponytail. And Taylor mentioned something regarding an incident. Jessica insisted, her discomfort growing with each moment. Did something happen? William's expression became remote. Indeed, it was 6 years ago that Angela found herself in that situation. His voice wavered. She was expecting when she passed away. Taylor materialized beside William, gently resting her petite hand on his. It's all right, she murmured gently. I've discovered you once more. William gazed at the child, a myriad of feelings flickering across his expression. A blend of bewilderment intertwined with a hint of familiarity. Beyond the office windows, ominous clouds loomed on the horizon, reflecting the turmoil that Jessica felt was on the verge of engulfing their lives. The journey back to Jessica's apartment was filled with tension. Noah was adamant about accompanying them himself, clarifying that extra security staff would keep watch from afar. He assured Jessica that they would maintain discretion. Our goal is to avoid attracting any additional attention. Jessica stared out the window, her thoughts swirling like a tempest. The similarity to Angela surely can't be mere chance, can it? And Taylor's peculiar remarks. In what ways might? How could her 5-year-old possibly have knowledge of events that occurred prior to her birth? Are you all right, Mom? Taylor inquired, gently pressing her petite hand into Jessica's. Just pondering, darling. Jessica managed to put on a smile. Upon reaching the apartment building, Noah conducted a thorough perimeter check before granting them entry. Taylor hurried ahead to their door as Noah patiently showed Jessica how to navigate the new security app he had installed on her phone. With just a single press of this button, our team is alerted right away, he clarified. This evening, we will be installing unobtrusive cameras in the hallway. Is everything here truly essential? Jessica inquired, even though the ominous messages implied otherwise. Noah responded with a straightforward acknowledgement, Mr. Baker believes that. I have come to rely on his intuition. Upon entering, Jessica discovered a package leaning against their door. A rectangular box, elegantly encased in brown paper, devoid of any shipping label. Don't touch it, Noah cautioned, instantly on high alert. He scrutinized it meticulously before concluding it posed no threat. Sufficient to summon the bomb squad. Jessica observed with bated breath as he unveiled it. Inside lay a brand new stuffed rabbit, strikingly similar to Taylor's cherished Hoppy, yet untouched and immaculate rather than faded. Underneath, there was a note. Maintain Taylor's smile. Avoid Baker at all costs. This is your last notice. Noah captured images of everything prior to securing it as evidence. This intensifies the situation, he remarked with a somber tone. There are whispers about Taylor's beloved stuffed animal. They've been observing intently. Jessica experienced a profound sense of violation. Who would even consider such a thing? Noah suggested it was probably Blackwell's people. However, we will conduct a comprehensive investigation. Taylor, unaware of the adult's worry, was proudly displaying her new drawing to Hoppy. A simple crayon drawing depicting 3 stick figures joined together by their hands. A towering figure clad in a tailored suit stands alongside a woman with cascading locks, while a petite girl occupies the space between them. That's a lovely picture, Jessica remarked, attempting to maintain her composure. Who are these individuals? Us, foolish, Taylor responded. Us three, together with William. Noah's phone emitted a soft chime. He examined it closely, a frown creasing his brow. Jessica mentioned that Mr. Baker wishes to have a private conversation with you. When the time is right, he looks forward to having you over for dinner at his place. Jessica paused, uncertainty flickering in her mind. I believe that may not be the wisest course of action, given the potential dangers involved. Indeed, his home boasts cutting-edge security measures. It would be a more secure choice for both of you to be there rather than here. As Noah departed to organize the evening watch, Jessica settled next to Taylor on the couch. Taylor, I have something significant to discuss with you, she started with caution. What's your connection to William? What made you mention that he's been searching for us? Taylor focused intently on her drawing, carefully placing a sun in the corner of the page. I just know, she declared with the unwavering confidence of youth, much like I understand that Hoppy feels lonely when I'm not there. But darling, you just met William yesterday. Taylor glanced upward, her gaze unexpectedly carrying the weight of experience beyond her age. No, Mommy, I recognized him from before, back when I was in heaven. Jessica's breath hitched. What are you implying by, in heaven? Prior to my arrival, Taylor elaborated with a calm demeanor, as though conveying something self-evident. I had intended to meet someone else, but due to an unforeseen accident, I found myself waiting until I could reconnect with him. A shiver coursed through Jessica. Such concepts as heaven or reincarnation had never been a topic of their discussions. Where had Taylor derived such notions? The sound of her phone ringing broke the silence. William, I get it if you prefer to distance yourself from me, he stated bluntly. However, I believe it's essential for us to discuss the current situation. Taylor just mentioned that she knew you in heaven, Jessica responded, her voice trembling. She was meant to go to someone else, but then an accident occurred. William, what's happening? A prolonged silence enveloped the space. 6 years ago, Angela, who was 8 months pregnant, tragically lost her life in a car accident. His voice faltered. It was a girl. Jessica settled onto the couch, her gaze fixed on Taylor, who was softly humming as she colored, unaware that her innocent words had just fractured the reality for both adults. Join us for dinner, William murmured softly. Text I believe it's important for us to collaborate and find a solution together. As Jessica concluded the call, she observed that Taylor had incorporated something new into her drawing. A fourth figure, diminutive compared to the others, hovered above them, seemingly adorned with wings. Who is that? Jessica inquired, her throat constricted. Taylor beamed. That was me back then, in the moments of anticipation. William Baker's residence was precisely as Jessica had envisioned. A contemporary residence perched above the urban landscape, characterized by sleek lines and understated elegance. What she hadn't anticipated was the ease with which Taylor navigated the space, diving into exploration as though she were already familiar with it. She's truly exceptional, William remarked, observing Taylor as she scrutinized a sculpture in the foyer. Feeling a sense of calm, Jessica nodded, yet she was clearly disturbed by the whole scenario. This situation is quite peculiar, William. I understand. He guided them into a dining room where a personal chef had crafted an exquisite dinner. I've been reflecting on what Taylor mentioned regarding recognizing me in heaven. So? Jessica inquired as they took their seats. William paused, uncertainty flickering in his mind. I'm uncertain about what to trust. I don't consider myself deeply religious or spiritual, yet there are occurrences that defy rational explanation. He cast a quick look at Taylor, meticulously folding her napkin with an air of careful attention. Her recognition of me, the details she possesses, and your likeness to Angela. Do you believe there's a link between Taylor and your unborn daughter? Jessica spoke softly, while Taylor appeared absorbed in her glass of apple juice. I'm at a loss, William confessed, yet I can't simply brush it aside. Jessica observed her daughter, recalling how Taylor had always appeared to possess a depth of understanding that belied her age, occasionally expressing thoughts that left Jessica pondering their origins. What is the situation with her father? William inquired with caution. You mentioned that he departed. Prior to her arrival, Jessica felt a sudden tightness in her muscles. She seldom spoke of Michael to others. Indeed, he was known as Michael. Our paths crossed during our college years. He possessed a magnetic charm and an unwavering drive. At the beginning of my pregnancy, he appeared to be joyful, but then. She lingered, the recollection vivid, excruciating. One day, he simply vanished, leaving behind a note that expressed his inability to continue. I'm sorry, William murmured gently. 6 years ago, Jessica responded. We've been doing just fine without him. Taylor abruptly lifted their gaze. He was reluctant to depart, she stated, with a straightforward demeanor. The wicked figure compelled him. Jessica and William shared quick looks. Which villain are you referring to, Taylor? William inquired softly. The observer among us, the one in service to Mr. Blackwell. Jessica experienced a sudden chill. Is that you, Taylor? What do you know about Mr. Blackwell? Taylor nonchalantly shrugged and went back to her meal. I simply do. The remainder of the meal unfolded with a more relaxed dialogue, William inquiring about Taylor's academic interests. Jessica was captivated by the effortless way they engaged with one another, as though an unseen bond linked their spirits. After dinner, William's housekeeper assisted Taylor in getting comfortable in the guest room with a movie, while the adults withdrew to his study. William said, closing the door, Noah found something. He flipped open his laptop, revealing a blurry surveillance image on the screen. This was captured just outside your apartment building a couple of days back. Jessica inched forward, her breath hitching in her throat. A figure clad in dark attire observed her building intently. Are you familiar with him? William inquired. Jessica shook her head, then came to a standstill. Hold on. She studied the man's silhouette, noting the way his shoulders were positioned and the tilt of his head. That can't be done. What is happening? He appears as though. Jessica gulped nervously. He has a likeness to Michael, Taylor's father, yet there's an air of age and a certain distinction about him. William's demeanor shifted to one of shadowy intensity. Noah's team is conducting facial recognition analysis. Should there be a link to Blackwell, we will uncover it. Jessica moved restlessly around the study, grappling with the weight of this new information. This is all quite perplexing. What could possibly lead Taylor's father to be employed by your business competitor? What reason would Blackwell have to be concerned about us? I'm not sure, William confessed. However, I am determined to uncover the truth. A gentle rap broke the silence. The housekeeper cracked the door open just a bit. Mr. Baker, Taylor is requesting your presence, both of you. She emphasizes its significance. Taylor was discovered sitting upright in bed, her expression one of seriousness. Without any introduction, she stated, the bad men are at our apartment. William swiftly reached out to Noah, who verified the occurrence of a security breach. The hallway camera that had been set up was disabled, and Jessica's door had been forced open. What was your connection to Taylor? Jessica inquired, her voice quivering. Taylor gazed at her with a depth of understanding in his eyes. They seek something concealed by Daddy before his departure. What secrets did he conceal? William inquired, crouching next to the bed. Taylor's response reverberated through both adults. The reality of the events surrounding your accident, Mr. William. The reality of your true self. The reality of my true self. William echoed, his complexion wan. Taylor, could you clarify what you mean? Taylor let out a big yawn, instantly resembling an ordinary, weary 5-year-old. You have no recollection because they erased it from your mind. Jessica perched on the edge of the bed, her reality shifting beneath her. Darling, how do you come by this knowledge? Simply put, dreams. At times, I simply have an instinct about things. William's phone buzzed to life, Noah calling in with the latest news. The intruders have departed. The apartment was thoroughly ransacked, yet it seems that nothing was actually taken. The location has been secured, and the locks have been changed. Thank you, Noah, William responded. Kindly ensure a team is present there tonight. Once they had settled Taylor into bed, Jessica and William made their way back to his study, both visibly unsettled by her remarks. I'm completely lost, Jessica admitted. Which incident was Taylor referring to? I believed Angela had perished in a car accident. William filled his glass, his hands trembling slightly. She certainly did. On that particular day, I was not by her side. He savored a lengthy sip. However, another incident occurred. Half a year prior to that. Late one night, as I was making my way home, I veered off the road. Awoke in the hospital, grappling with a concussion and lingering memory challenges. Are you experiencing difficulties with memory? Nothing significant. Only voids from the weeks surrounding the incident. The physician indicated that it was typical in cases of head trauma. He swept his fingers through his hair. Recently, I've been experiencing visions. Glimmers of unfamiliar locations. Strangers to me. Jessica pondered this. When did these dreams begin to unfold? Several months back. William took a moment to stop and reflect. They grew stronger after I spotted Taylor at the restaurant. Jessica experienced a sudden chill. Is there any connection between Blackwell and your accident? I fail to understand how that is possible. We were rivals. However, the true competition between us began only after I came back from my time away for healing. William's brow knitted in concentration. There's an additional aspect to consider. The similarity between you and Angela. I kept it to myself, never sharing it with a soul. The anguish was overwhelming. However, Charles identified it right away. Thus, it was clear to Jessica that he must have been observing us. Or possessed knowledge that eludes me. William placed his glass on the table. Angela and I faced challenges with fertility for many years. When she finally became pregnant, it felt like a wondrous miracle. Jessica paused momentarily before posing her question. William, could you tell me when your accident occurred? 6 years ago, on December 6th. A chill coursed through her veins. That is precisely the day Michael vanished. The ensuing silence was thick with unspoken meanings. Jessica, William spoke with caution. I have a personal question for you. Is there a picture of Michael available? She nodded, retrieving her phone and browsing through past images. This was us in college, she said, presenting a photograph of her youthful self alongside a charming man, his arm draped around her shoulders. William gazed at the image, his face a mask of inscrutability. I don't recognize him, but, he hesitated, his words lingering in the air. But what is it? This may sound unusual, but I've experienced dreams where I look into a mirror and my reflection is not myself, it's someone entirely different. He inhaled deeply to find his calm. I have to make a few calls. There's a specialist, Dr. Elliot, who provided assistance after my accident. He could possess valuable perspectives. Jessica's phone buzzed, signaling a message from Noah. I discovered something in your apartment that you need to check out. I'm on my way to the house now. 20 minutes later, Noah appeared, holding a sealed evidence bag that contained a small notebook. He explained that this was concealed within a sealed plastic bag located inside the air vent in Taylor's room. The intruder sought something specific but ultimately came up empty-handed. Jessica gazed intently at the notebook. This is something I've never encountered before. Noah gently unzipped the bag and pulled out the notebook, presenting it to Jessica with care. The initial page bore a solitary line penned in cursive. She instantly identified it as belonging to Michael. "If you're seeing this, it means I couldn't return for you. Locate William Baker. He holds the answer to it all." Jessica's hands quivered as she flipped to the next page, revealing a photograph that took her breath away. It depicted a younger William Baker, with subtly altered features, standing next to Charles Blackwell. Both gentlemen wore smiles as they posed for the camera. Inscribed on the reverse in Michael's script was one solitary inquiry. What is the true identity of William Baker? What actions did Blackwell take against him? Jessica gazed at the photograph, her heart racing. This is utterly perplexing. How could Michael possibly be acquainted with you? William examined the image, his mind swirling with perplexity. That's certainly me, but I don't remember ever being this close with Blackwell. And my visage appears altered. Noah inclined closer. Facial reconstruction following your accident, sir. Only minor procedures, William replied. Nothing that would alter my appearance so significantly. Jessica flipped through the notebook, discovering mostly empty pages until she reached the midpoint, where Michael had jotted down dates and locations, with concise entries resembling surveillance notes. On October 2nd, the subject was followed up with Meridian Labs. On October 15th, B had a meeting with an unidentified individual at the Harbor Hotel. Noah noticed that he was following someone. Blackwell, Jessica said. Michael was delving into the mysteries surrounding Blackwell. She kept reading, her heart racing as she encountered a passage that took her breath away. On November 28th, it has been confirmed that the subject is not WB. Cosmetic enhancement, vocal coaching, authentic WB. Location unknown, must warn J before, the entry concluded suddenly. William picked up the notebook, immersing himself in the passage, reading it over twice. This implies that you may not actually be the genuine William Baker, Noah concluded, his usual professionalism faltering for a brief moment. Jessica shook her head, grappling with the weight of this revelation. However, that seems unfeasible. You manage a company valued at $1 billion. One would certainly attract attention if they were to undergo a sudden transformation in character. Not if the change occurred while I was recovering, William said softly. Following the incident, I remained away from the spotlight for almost 3 months. Noah was engrossed in typing on his phone. I'm reaching out to a reliable associate for further exploration. We must conduct thorough background checks to confirm hospital records, recovery facility documentation, and all related information. Jessica contemplated Taylor resting peacefully upstairs, completely oblivious to the startling truths unfolding below. William concluded grimly that if Michael was probing into Blackwell and unearthed something this explosive, then Blackwell had every reason to ensure he vanished. Noah insisted on the necessity of evidence, something far more convincing than a mere notebook that might have been penned by anyone. Jessica turned the last few pages and discovered a tiny key affixed to the inside of the back cover. William took a closer look, sensing its significance. Probably a safety deposit box. But which financial institution? Jessica flipped through the last few pages, discovering a business card for First National Bank hidden within the binding. This might be the moment. Noah accepted the card. I'll arrange for someone to look into this quietly first thing in the morning. We require an additional element. To contemplate, William remarked, his tone eerily composed. If I am not truly William Baker, then who do I really represent? A tense stillness enveloped the space, the weight of unspoken truths lingering heavily around them. Jessica examined William's features, looking for any resemblance to Michael. The hues had shifted, the skeletal framework transformed, yet there was an undeniable quality in the gaze. Noah finally proposed that we take a moment to rest. The team will be working through the night on this task. The bank will open its doors at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Once Noah departed, Jessica and William remained in quiet reflection. Eventually, Jessica concluded that she ought to check on Taylor, taking a moment to gather her thoughts. She discovered her daughter resting serenely, Hoppy held close to her heart. How could this pure-hearted child possess such profound knowledge about matters beyond her comprehension? Upon Jessica's return to the study, she found William gazing out the window, captivated by the shimmering city lights. "In my dreams," he spoke, his gaze averted. "I am a different person. I share a cozy apartment with the woman I adore. We're feeling a mix of happiness and concern." He turned to Jessica. "Last night, I found myself in a dream featuring a plush rabbit, reminiscent of Taylor's." Jessica sensed her knees give way. She braced herself against the doorframe. "William. What if Michael stayed by your side?" He spoke, his voice scarcely rising above a whisper. "What if he transformed into a different person? A person who failed to recall your presence?" The inquiry lingered in the air, palpable and weighty. Jessica reflected on all the small instances. William's immediate bond with Taylor, the way he occasionally tilted his head just like Michael did when he was truly engaged, the unexplainable trust she sensed toward him despite their short time together. "If that's the case," Jessica said with caution, "then Blackwell didn't merely threaten your business. He took everything you had." Just as William was about to reply, a faint voice echoed from the hallway. "Daddy used to call me Sunshine," Taylor murmured, her eyes fluttering open with a hint of drowsiness. Only he was aware of that name. William became completely motionless. "Taylor, what made you decide to come downstairs at this moment?" She let out a long, drawn-out yawn. "The celestial being conveyed that the moment has come for you to recall." "Sunshine," William murmured, the word awakening a profound resonance within him. For a brief instant, he appeared to be adrift in contemplation, his gaze distant and unfocused. Jessica crouched next to Taylor. "Darling, which angel are you referring to?" "The lady angel who keeps an eye on us," Taylor declared with innocent conviction. "Her hair is lovely, just like yours, Mommy, but she radiates light. She was the one who guided me back to Daddy." William and Jessica shared a knowing look. The description resonated with an unsettling familiarity to Angela. "Taylor," William inquired with caution, "has this angel shared anything else with you?" Taylor gave a slight nod. "She claimed that the wicked man lulled Daddy into slumber, causing him to forget about us. Yet, she guided me to recall, enabling me to assist him in his own recollection as well." She rubbed her eyes with a sense of drowsiness. "Could I please get a glass of water?" Once Jessica returned Taylor to bed, William remained still in his study, the word sunshine resonating in his thoughts. There was an echo to it, reminiscent of a bell tolling softly over the surface of a tranquil lake. Upon Jessica's return, she discovered him engrossed in his phone. He elaborated on my calendar. "I'm on the lookout for anything out of the ordinary from those lost months." He lingered over an entry. "A sequence of consultations with Dr. Isaacs awaits. No specific expertise provided, no means of contact available." "It might be the physician who conducted your operations following the incident," Jessica proposed. "Or perhaps something completely different." William's jaw clenched. "First, we'll head to the bank tomorrow, and then we'll track down Dr. Isaacs." The dawn arrived all too soon. Jessica hardly found rest, her thoughts swirling with endless possibilities. Is it possible that William is actually Michael? The man who had abandoned her and their unborn child? Or was there a darker force at work? Noah showed up at 7, bringing along a woman he introduced as Dr. Lauren Elliott, a neurologist with a focus on memory disorders. "Last night, I received a call from Mr. Baker." She elaborated to Jessica. "He has been under my care since the time of his accident." "So, you didn't find anything odd about his situation?" Jessica inquired. Dr. Elliott paused, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. In the medical reports, inconsistencies and gaps were evident, yet nothing definitive emerged. They convened in William's home office, leaving Taylor upstairs with the housekeeper. Dr. Elliott scrutinized the notebook, her demeanor serious. "If this implication holds, altering memories and replacing identities would necessitate advanced methods. Substances, suggestive techniques, and perhaps even precise electrical stimulation of particular areas in the brain. Could that really happen? Jessica inquired. In theory, that would be correct. In terms of ethics and legality, the answer is a definitive no. Dr. Elliot faced William. The dreams you've been experiencing might be your authentic memories trying to emerge. The bank will be opening its doors in just 1 hour. Noah cut in. It's time for us to make a change. They entrusted Taylor to the watchful eye of Noah's most reliable security officer and departed in different vehicles towards First National Bank. Jessica sat beside William, an awkward stillness enveloping them. If I am Michael, he finally said, then it means I have forsaken you and our unborn child. We are uncertain about what transpired, Jessica responded. If Blackwell truly did this to you, then you did not forsake us. You were captured. At the bank, they showed the key along with Michael's ID, which Noah had taken from Jessica's apartment. The manager guided them to an exclusive room where the safety deposit box was presented. William opened it with hands that quivered ever so slightly. Within the confines, there rested a sealed envelope, a flash drive, and a compact recording device. Jessica identified Michael's distinctive handwriting on the envelope. To Jessica and Taylor. Proof opposing Blackwell. William was the first to open the envelope, pulling out a collection of documents, including medical reports, surveillance photos of Blackwell alongside various doctors, and a handwritten timeline. However, it was the last entry that made William come to a standstill, a DNA analysis juxtaposing 2 samples marked William Baker, original, and Subject X, post-procedure. William stated, his voice echoing emptily, that Subject X's DNA does not correspond with the original William Baker's. Jessica grasped the flash drive, inserting it into the laptop that Noah had provided. It held a multitude of video files. She selected one labeled, Original Interview. The screen displayed a younger William Baker, resembling the man next to her yet with slight distinctions, addressing the camera directly. I am William Baker. If you are seeing this, it means that Charles Blackwell has successfully taken my place with his alternative. Locate Michael Reynolds. He possesses an extensive knowledge base. William gazed at the screen, his complexion ashen. Michael Reynolds, he murmured. Jessica felt a sudden jolt of shock. That was your name, she murmured gently. Michael Reynolds. At that instant, the resonance of Taylor's words filled her thoughts. I've discovered you once more. The journey back to William's, or perhaps more accurately, Michael's, mansion unfolded in silence. Every individual found themselves adrift in the consequences of their revelations. The audio files retrieved from the safety deposit box captured discussions between Blackwell and several medical professionals regarding the procedure and memory recalibration. Noah promptly distributed copies of all documents to his most reliable team members for secure storage. Blackwell possesses valuable resources, he elaborated. This evidence is too crucial to lose. Jessica stole glances at William, perceiving him in an entirely different light. The man who had been assisting them, who felt an unexplainable bond with Taylor, turned out to be the father of her daughter. A man whose whole essence had been taken and transformed. I don't know who I am anymore, William Michael said softly as they neared the mansion gates. All my previous beliefs about who I am have turned out to be false. From the back seat, Dr. Elliot, who had joined them at the bank, made his voice heard. Your essential being stays unchanged. The recollections might have been altered, yet your core personality traits and values are far more resilient to change. Jessica reflected on the effortless connection that had formed between William and Taylor right from the start. Some bonds transcended mere recollection. As they arrived at the mansion, Noah's phone began to ring. His demeanor shifted into shadow as he absorbed the words. Sir, he said with urgency as he concluded the call. Blackwell has summoned an urgent board meeting at Baker Innovations. He is putting forth claims that you are not mentally stable and is attempting to have you ousted from your position as CEO. What are the reasons? William insisted. It seems he possesses images of you alongside Jessica and Taylor. Medical reports indicating mental health concerns and a physician's statement asserting that you have been facing delusions. Jessica felt a sinking sensation in her stomach. He's taking action against you now because he's aware that we've uncovered the proof. They hurried inside to discover Taylor and the security officer engaged in a board game in the living room, both, to their relief, unharmed. Taylor glanced upward, instantly aware of the charged atmosphere. The villain approaches, doesn't he? She inquired. Just as a reply was about to emerge, William's phone buzzed with the alert of an incoming video call. Blackwell. William paused for a moment, then responded, activating the speakerphone. William, my dear companion. Blackwell's self-satisfied voice echoed throughout the room. Or perhaps I should mention, Michael, it seems you've had a rather eventful day. It's finished, Blackwell, William responded. The evidence is in our possession. Genetic testing, discussions with your healthcare providers, all of it. Blackwell let out a soft laugh. Remarkable. However, it alters nothing. The board meeting is set to commence in 1 hour. Even if you rush there with your so-called proof, who would accept such a far-fetched tale? That I somehow swapped the genuine William Baker for a doppelganger? Your words may come across as irrational, which conveniently bolsters my argument. What prompted you to take this action? Jessica insisted. Where can one find the true William Baker? Ah, Jessica, just as passionate as I recall. The true essence of William Baker was unfolding. Challenging. His exploration of neural interfaces was groundbreaking, yet he steadfastly declined to turn it into a tool for warfare. Such a squandered opportunity. Dr. Elliot remarked that you substituted him with Michael, a man possessing intelligence yet susceptible to control via memory manipulation. Exactly. Michael was delving into my life for a narrative. An accomplished storyteller with a foundation in science. Ideal foundational element. And to have him lead the company under the impression that he was Baker. Lyric. William's expression grew stern. What will happen with Jessica and our child? You compelled me to leave them behind. Unintended consequences. Blackwell has been dismissed. In all honesty, we did make an effort to wipe those memories from existence. It appears that certain matters are more profound than they seem. Jessica experienced a wave of nausea. This individual had nonchalantly obliterated 3 lives, for if you include the genuine William Baker, all for the sake of corporate profit. You won't escape this, William stated, his tone eerily composed. I have already done that. Blackwell's tone radiated victory. However, I am quite rational. Step down at this moment. Hand over your controlling shares to me, and I promise to stay away from your family. Decline, and I will ruin not only your professional life but also Jessica and that extraordinary child of yours. The conversation concluded suddenly, plunging them into a state of shocked quietude. Noah asserted that he was just putting on a show. He would never consider harming a child. He took away a man's whole sense of self, Jessica argued. I believe there's nothing he wouldn't have the audacity to attempt. William knelt beside Taylor, who had been silently absorbing all that was unfolding around them. Taylor, he spoke softly. Do you recall me in any way? Previously? Taylor gently pressed her petite hand against his cheek. She said it matter-of-factly, you used to read me stories before I was born. You made a promise to return, and here you are. William, or Michael, rose suddenly, a fresh resolve setting into his expression. I refuse to yield to Blackwell's demands. However, Noah started the discussion about the board meeting. Indeed, we shall be present, William interjected, but not to capitulate. Today, we will unveil the truth about Blackwell, presenting every shred of evidence at our disposal. Dr. Elliot wore a look of concern. This is quite a bit to digest mentally. Your entire existence over the last 6 years has been constructed on illusions of memory. Do you truly feel prepared to confront this in front of others? William glanced at Taylor, then shifted his gaze to Jessica. I've spent 6 years away from my family because of Blackwell. I refuse to let another day slip away. Jessica experienced a wave of feelings, a blend of fear intertwined with hope, alongside an unidentifiable depth she wasn't prepared to confront. The man before her was a paradox, a stranger yet intimately connected as the father of her child, embodying both William Baker and Michael Reynolds. What do you have in mind? She inquired. We provide all the evidence, the DNA tests, the recordings, the timeline, not only to the board but also to law enforcement. William glanced at Noah. Reach out to the FBI regarding matters of corporate espionage, kidnapping, identity theft, and medical malpractice. Blackwell has engaged in numerous federal offenses that could result in a lengthy prison sentence. Noah gave a slight nod, his fingers moving to dial. I'm going with you, Jessica declared resolutely. William shook his head in disbelief. Blackwell issued a threat to both you and Taylor. I cannot take that chance. We are more powerful as a unit, Jessica interjected. Taylor saw you for who you truly are, even when you couldn't see it yourself. There exists a rationale for that. She inhaled deeply. Additionally, I possess 6 years of memories related to Michael Reynolds that you are not privy to. I can assist in uncovering your true self. Their gazes intertwined, a silent energy flowing between them. For a fleeting instant, Jessica perceived a reflection of Michael within William's gaze, mirroring the same fervor, the same resolve. Very well, he admitted. However, Taylor remains here under the highest level of security. They moved swiftly, gathering the evidence as Noah coordinated with FBI agents to rendezvous at Baker Innovations. Dr. Elliott crafted a succinct medical evaluation detailing the potential methods for achieving memory manipulation. Just as they were about to depart, Taylor unexpectedly materialized in the doorway, gripping tightly. Hoppy, you must take this, she insisted, extending her hand to reveal a small object, a tarnished silver compass that Jessica had never encountered before. William accepted it, and his demeanor shifted immediately. This belonged to my father, he whispered. I took it with me wherever I went, but how did you manage it? The celestial being guided me to its location, Taylor responded. She mentioned it might assist you in recalling the path back home. William's hands quivered as he glided his thumb across the compass's weathered surface. I recall concealing this in a certain spot within the apartment, beneath a loose floorboard under the bed. Jessica inhaled sharply. A board is loose in that area. I discovered it years back, yet I never took the time to explore what lay beneath. You should bring it along, Taylor urged. It stands as evidence. William lowered himself to meet Taylor's gaze. Thank you, sunshine, he murmured gently, and in that instant, his voice resonated with the unmistakable timbre of Michael's. Taylor embraced him warmly. I always knew you'd track us down, Daddy. The journey to Baker Innovations headquarters was filled with anticipation. William grasped the compass tightly, his other hand resting at his side, as he intermittently shut his eyes, allowing fleeting memories to emerge from the depths of his mind. He suddenly recalled the time he looked into Blackwell. He was secretly financing groundbreaking brain research. I had an insider in the lab who revealed they were working on methods to change memory, not merely to suppress it, but to completely replace it. That's how Jessica realized she connected with the true William Baker. He likely contacted you regarding Blackwell's interest in his neural interface technology. Indeed, William spoke with deliberation, as memories began to take shape. He understood that Blackwell aimed to exploit his creations for destructive purposes. He was collecting evidence in the same manner that I was. As Baker Innovations emerged on the horizon, its glass tower shimmering under the afternoon sun, William grasped Jessica's hand. I can't predict what awaits us inside, he murmured, but I want you to understand that I'm beginning to recall emotions, not merely details, emotions concerning you and Taylor. Jessica grasped his hand, her throat constricted with feeling. We will overcome this challenge. United. Noah's phone chimed to life as they entered the parking garage. The agents from the FBI are now in place, he conveyed. And sir, Blackwell has just arrived with Dr. Isaacs, the physician who conducted your procedures. William's jaw clenched. Flawless. All the essential figures gathered in one location. As they exited the car, Jessica noticed a recognizable figure lurking in the shadows, the very same man captured in Noah's surveillance image. Her breath hitched. Michael, she murmured. That individual. I believe this is truly the real William Baker. The true William Baker, William echoed, surveying the parking garage. The silhouette Jessica had noticed faded deeper into the darkness. Noah gestured towards a pair of his security personnel. Keep track of him. Avoid involvement. Simply monitor his actions. They ascended in a discreet elevator that transported them straight to the executive level of the building. As William ascended each floor, he appeared to grow in stature, his two identities merging into a force more powerful than either could be on its own. The boardroom lies just beyond, he remarked as the doors swung open. Blackwell will have begun to turn the board against me. With a firm grip, Jessica reminded him that they held the truth, squeezing his hand one final time before releasing it. The corridor beyond the boardroom was flanked by security staff, a mix of Noah's associates and those evidently under Blackwell's command. Agents in tailored suits positioned themselves at key locations, their demeanor lending a serious weight to the unfolding events. William hesitated before the imposing double doors, inhaling deeply. Are you prepared? With a subtle nod, Jessica stepped inside alongside them. A dozen board members gathered around a grand table, with Blackwell positioned at the forefront during the presentation. Behind him, charts showcased what seemed to be assessments of the mind. A slender figure with wire-rimmed glasses, likely Dr. Isaacs, fidgeted anxiously next to a projector. As William entered, the chatter fell silent, with Jessica and their group trailing behind him. Is that you, William? Blackwell bounced back swiftly, though his smile failed to touch his eyes. We were just having a conversation about your mental state, and I have some concerns regarding your ability to lead this company effectively. Indeed, you are, Charles, William responded with a calm demeanor. Particularly given that I am not, in fact, William Baker. Whispers cascaded around the table. Blackwell's smile wavered. With a sweeping motion, Blackwell indicated the board members. Misunderstandings of self, precisely what Dr. Isaacs has identified. William advanced, setting a flash drive down on the table. Before anyone makes hasty judgments, I propose we take a moment to examine the evidence at hand. This document includes DNA tests demonstrating that I am not the original William Baker, as well as recordings of Mr. Blackwell talking about the process of replacing him with me, a journalist named Michael Reynolds, who was probing into Blackwell's unlawful actions. The board chairman, a notable elder named Helen Winters, wore a frown. These are grave allegations, William, or should I refer to you as Mr. Reynolds? You can still call me William, he replied. I have known him longer than I have been conscious of existence, Michael. Indeed, these allegations carry significant weight, which is precisely why I've extended an invitation to the FBI to participate. Two agents advanced, presenting their identities. The lead agent announced that after examining initial evidence, there appears to be adequate grounds to pursue an investigation into claims of identity theft, kidnapping, and conspiracy. Blackwell's calm demeanor shattered. This is utterly ridiculous. It's hard to imagine that you truly think. Play the recordings, William directed Noah, who promptly plugged the flash drive into the room's presentation system. The sound of Blackwell's voice resonated throughout the space. The operation went smoothly. Reynolds is convinced he has taken on the role of Baker. Every aspect of his identity has been erased. A different voice, Dr. Isaacs, replied. However, suppression is not everlasting. Such essential memories have the potential to emerge again, particularly when prompted by the appropriate cues. The expressions of the board members transformed from doubt to sheer terror as the recording unfolded, revealing how Michael Reynolds had been chosen due to his physical resemblance to Baker and his scientific prowess. Dr. Isaacs, shaking with apprehension, retreated slowly toward the door. "I was just following orders," he stammered. "Blackwell posed a threat to my family." "You're both out of your minds," Blackwell spat, though his air of confidence was beginning to falter. Helen Winters rose to her feet. "It seems we've gathered sufficient information to justify a comprehensive inquiry. I propose that we temporarily suspend both Mr. Blackwell and—" She paused, her gaze fixed on William. "The present CEO will remain in position until this issue is legally settled." "Agreed," another member of the board swiftly interjected. With the board's official decision made, the doors flew open dramatically. Noah's security team made their entrance, guiding the man from the parking garage. He appeared thin and haunted, yet there was an undeniable spark of intelligence in his eyes. "William Baker," the man uttered, his voice rough from neglect. "The true essence of William Baker. I have been observing. Anticipating the perfect opportunity." He glanced at Blackwell, whose complexion had drained to a ghostly white. "You sustained my existence for the sake of my relentless inquiry, yet you never anticipated my eventual departure." Chaos erupted in the room. Agents from the FBI approached to apprehend both Blackwell and Dr. Isaacs, informing them of their rights. Board members gathered around the genuine William Baker, posing inquiries that appeared to leave him feeling inundated. Amidst the chaos, William and Michael grasped Jessica's hand once more, their fingers weaving together. "It's finished," he murmured. Jessica nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Yet, it is merely the start." 3 months later, Jessica found herself on a park bench, observing as Taylor joyfully chased butterflies across a vibrant field of wildflowers. The autumn sun bathed everything in a warm, golden light. Her expression shifted as a well-known figure drew near and settled beside her. With a bright smile, Michael remarked on her boundless energy as Taylor caught sight of him and waved with enthusiasm. He had become Michael, entirely and utterly. In the weeks after Blackwell's arrest, Dr. Elliott assisted him in weaving together his recovered memories, striving to harmonize the person he once was with the individual he had evolved into. "How did your meeting with the real William go?" Jessica inquired, tilting her head gently against his shoulder. "Efficient. He is formally reclaiming his name and role as the head of research, yet he wishes for me to continue as CEO." Michael shook his head, utterly astonished. "He claims that my contributions to the company surpass anything he could have achieved." The fallout from the scandal was tumultuous, yet it led to a sense of resolution and recovery. Blackwell and his associates confronted a series of federal charges. The true William Baker had stepped out from the shadows, his time in confinement transforming him, yet he remained steadfast. And above all, Taylor had her father back, though she maintained that she had never truly lost him. With a gentle tone, Jessica revealed, Taylor knew. In some inexplicable way, she always seemed to understand your essence. Michael observed, his gaze fixed on his daughter as she danced gracefully in the sunlight. Dr. Elliott suggests that certain connections go beyond what we can consciously recall. And then there's Taylor's celestial being. The spiritual dimensions of Taylor's knowledge remained unexamined. Their allusions to Angela and heaven lingered as a soft enigma they had chosen to embrace, rather than unravel. The renovations on the house were completed by the contractors, Michael remarked, shifting the conversation. It's prepared and waiting for you and Taylor whenever you're ready. Jessica had finally consented to take the step of moving into Michael's residence, or more accurately, their shared abode, as they had reimagined it to accommodate the needs of all three of them. Her apartment was filled with too many haunting memories, and Taylor had already taken over her princess room in the new place. This weekend, Jessica made a choice. The moment has arrived. Michael grasped her hand, his thumb gliding over the modest engagement ring he had presented to her just a month prior. They were proceeding with care, mending their bond while respecting both their past and the new insights they had gained along the way. I discovered something yesterday, he said, as he reached into his pocket. He retrieved a small, aged envelope, its yellowed edges hinting at stories untold. It was tucked away in my old office files, misplaced from 6 years back. With great care, Jessica opened it. Within lay a sonogram. Taylor's sonogram from prior to Michael's disappearance. I recall now, he stated, his voice heavy with feeling. That day, I had it with me, the day Blackwell's men captured me. I was en route to meet my editor with the evidence against Blackwell, but I paused to take in this sight. Our little princess. Weeping. Filled in Jessica's eyes as she traced the soft silhouette of Taylor in the womb. She whispered, "You never left us." It wasn't a decision made willingly. Absolutely not, he asserted. And I shall never do so again. Taylor dashed toward them, panting and radiant. Father, I discovered a unique stone to add to your collection. She placed a polished, heart-shaped stone gently into Michael's hand. It's perfect, he murmured, enveloping her in a tender embrace. Thank you, bright light. As they strolled back to the car, Taylor gleefully skipping ahead, Michael paused Jessica with a soft touch. He added, there's one more thing. Yesterday, the true William shared something intriguing with me. He mentioned that Angela had consulted a fertility specialist prior to their marriage. They gathered donor eggs since she was unable to produce viable ones. Jessica furrowed her brow, deep in thought. What prompts you to share this with me? For that reason, Michael murmured gently. He presented the profile of the donor to me. The woman matched your blood type and your overall physical description. She even pursued a course in business ethics during her college years. That's merely a coincidence, Jessica started. Yet, the realization gradually began to take shape within her mind. Perhaps, Michael concurred. Perhaps there are deeper ties that bind us all, beyond our current comprehension. Taylor beckoned to them from further along, eager to return home. As they clasped hands and approached their daughter, Jessica reflected on the myriad of improbable coincidences that had led them to this very moment. Taylor's awareness of Michael, even with his changed look, Angela's striking similarity to Jessica, and the peculiar dreams and memories that emerged against all expectations. She concluded that certain mysteries were destined to remain unsolved. Some bonds transcended the boundaries of scientific understanding. What truly counted was that a young girl had seen her father through an unbridgeable gap. A man rediscovered his true self, and a family that had been shattered by darkness was united once more. Let's go home, Jessica said, squeezing Michael's hand. Everyone united as one. As Taylor rushed into their embrace, Jessica realized that whatever unseen powers had led them, be it celestial beings or an enduring love, had ultimately brought them to the place they were meant to be.